Hello. In this video, we are going to discuss lazy and eager resolution. Lazy and eager resolution. So, this is the discussion which we are going to do here. And the same file has been copied inside day 3 or day 4 somewhere. You will get it. Initial discussion inside the folder lazy and eager resolution. Okay. So, let's understand what is lazy and eager resolution. Before we start, let me tell you one very important thing. There's a difference between lazy eager resolution and lazy eager binding. Binding is something different and resolution is something different. Okay. Here we are going to discuss resolution, lazy and eager resolution. So look at class sample. Class sample has got int num1 100 and static int num2 200. And look at this example where we have class A, class B. Inside class sample, we have created object of A and we have created object of B. But the difference is the reference of A, OB1, is non-static, whereas reference of B, OB2, is static. Okay. Now, if you compare both these examples, example 1 and example 2, what is the difference? As far as sample class is concerned, what is the difference? How sample class is different here as compared to this sample class? Think for a while and answer yourself. Think for a while and answer yourself how this class sample is different from this class sample. Okay. So the difference is in this class sample, whether num1 or num2, both are of primitive types. Both are of primitive types. As you know, primitive types are int, char, float, boolean, double, char. Okay. And we have another category of data type, that is reference type, that is any class or interface. So this class sample has got num1 and num2, both are of primitive type. Whereas this class sample, it has got OB1 and OB2. OB1 is a reference of class A and OB2 is a reference of class B. So that means these both are of reference types. So in the first case, class sample has got primitive types members. And in the second case, class sample has got reference types member. Okay. Since this is the difference between two, your language should be different. Your language means the way you explain, the way you look at them should be different. Okay. In the first case, you know very well, since this is non-static or this is instance member, num1 will be allocated memory only after you create the object of sample. And since this is static or class variable, this will be allocated memory. Num2 will be allocated memory immediately when sample class gets loaded. As soon as sample class gets loaded, num2 will be allocated memory, whereas num1 will be allocated memory only when you create the object of sample. And num1 is different for different object, whereas num2 has got only one copy in the memory shared by all the objects of sample. Now, this is the concept which we know already, right? This is what we know already. Our main discussion is here. Now, when you understand this very well, when you understand this first case very well, when you look at this second case, here also you try to explain like that. OB1 will be allocated memory only when the object of sample will be created, and OB2 will be allocated memory as soon as sample class gets loaded. Okay, because this concept is clear. Upar wala. Since this concept is clear, you try to explain this also in the same language because your concept is clear. Now, even though logically you are correct, but the way you are explaining is not correct. You can't say like that OB1 will be allocated memory only after sample class gets created, or OB2 will be allocated memory as soon as sample class gets loaded. No, not like that. You have to use a different language here, different terminology here, and that terminology is resolution. Okay, so here OB1 is a non-static member of sample. OB1 is a non-static member of sample. But keep in mind, OB1 is a reference of class A. So what will you say? Here, class A will be loaded only after first object of sample gets created. Class A, class gets loaded only once. Class A will be loaded only after first object of sample gets created. And that's why it is called as lazy resolution. Since here class A will be loaded only after the first object of sample gets created, this is lazy resolution. Whereas OB2 is a static member. So here class B will be loaded immediately after sample class gets loaded. I repeat, here class B will be loaded immediately after sample class gets loaded. Since class B gets loaded immediately after sample class gets loaded, this is called as eager resolution. Okay, whenever question is asked in the interview, what is lazy resolution and eager resolution? There is no proper definition for that. You have to always explain with the example like this. I don't mind if you carry the same example everywhere, or if you try to explain the same example everywhere, but you answer this question with the example. With the example, it becomes very simple. Okay, and take the same example, class A, class B somewhere. Inside class sample, we have A, OB1, new A. So in this case, A will be loaded only after the first object of sample gets created, that is lazy resolution. Then we have static B, OB2 is equal to new B. So class B will be loaded immediately after sample class gets loaded. So that is eager resolution. Okay, so this is the way you should explain with example. I repeat, with example. Without example, you cannot explain this concept. It is very difficult. But with example, it's very simple. Okay, so I hope this lazy resolution and eager resolution is clear to you. Thank you.